In 2017, April pleaded no contest to aggravated child abuse after her 5-month-old daughter was treated for multiple skull fractures, bleeding on the brain, and bruising. April was facing up to 15 years in prison, but took a plea deal and was given an 18-month sentence. The infant's father went to trial where he was found guilty of neglect of a child causing great bodily harm and is currently serving 15 years in prison. The children have since been adopted by April's Aunt Renee, who refuses to let her have any contact with them until she can prove that she was not the one who harmed her baby. Take a look.
Me and my daughter were coming back from church on a Wednesday night. My friend called me and she asked me if I knew an April, and I said, that's my niece, why? I kind of thought maybe something had happened to her. And she said, you haven't been listening to the news? And I said, no. And when I read it, it was just like, I couldn't believe it. It was like a worst nightmare. So I called my ex-mother-in-law and I was like, well, why don't you have the children? She said, well, they won't let me have them. So I asked Claudine, I said, do you want me and my husband to try to get the children? And she was really excited about it. She said, yes, please. And so she gave me the worker's phone number. The next day, he let me go see the baby in the hospital. And when I walked in, she had all these tubes and things coming out of her head and running into her, and she was just laying there. She was so tiny. And she just kind of stared up at you. And I don't know, I just fell in love with her the first time I saw her. She was only 5 months old. She had 6 skull fractures. She had been shaken. She had bruising behind both ears. And I went and saw her every day after I dropped my daughter off at school. Me and my husband, we adopted these children. We love these children, and they are our children now. April would call me on the phone to ask about the children and stuff, but I honestly believe she either did it or he did it, or it was a combination of both of them. April only served 18 months in jail because she took a plea deal. He fought it and they gave him 15 years. So in my way of thinking, they had to have done something. There was some kind of evidence to show that they did something. When she was arrested, she was trying to tell police that it was from a prior boyfriend. They tried to blame it on a babysitter, saying that the babysitter, when they went to the store, did something to her. None of their stories make any sense. I also heard from a caseworker, April was bragging to her cellmate that she blew meth in the baby's face to calm her down. How could you do that? They're beautiful. I mean, I don't understand a person like that. A person like that's a monster. April and her grandmother Claudine think that we should allow April to see these children, but I feel that she's a risk to these children and I will not have her anywhere near them.
April, did you abuse your daughter?
No, sir, I didn't.
How did your daughter get so injured?
I don't know. If I knew, I would.
You have no idea?
I really still don't know. I still have no answers for that. I was working as a dancer.
How did you become aware of the injuries?
She was an infant and she wasn't rolling over. She wasn't progressing how she should have been, how an infant would, you know, and she wasn't lifting her head up anymore. She wasn't showing any signs of like distraughtness or like crying like everybody says she was. Even when we took her to the hospital, they said there was nothing wrong with her. This is 3 days prior to us taking her to the last time, and they said that she had all these skull fractures and injuries. They didn't even have any of that. They sent us home saying that she was teething and to give her Pedialyte, saying she was dehydrated.
So you did take her to a
doctor?
doctor?
I did. I took her several times. In fact, they have registration where registration sent me a bill for 8 different times in 1 week. 2 different hospitals in 1 day.
You were pregnant at the time of your arrest, right?
Yes, which we unknowingly, like, we didn't know I was pregnant.
Right, but you gave birth, what, in prison?
I gave birth in jail prior to me going to prison.
And who has that child?
My grandmother.
Okay. Do you have a relationship with that child?
I do, yes, sir.
How old is that child now?
He's 2.
But you don't never get to be the guardian?
No.
Okay. There was a witness who told police that you refused to seek medical treatment for your daughter.
That was his brother's girlfriend at the time. They have a baby together as well.
I know April because I am dating the uncle to her kids. We drove down to visit April and Justin because we wanted to see our nieces and nephews. April's daughter was about 5-6 months old when we got there, and as soon as we went to go in the room and go and see the baby, she picked the baby up, her head went limp, and she seemed to be in pain. And right then and there, I asked her, did you take the baby to the hospital? And she said, yes, I did. And the doctor said that she was colicky and sent us home. And that turned out to be a lie. I told her, no, we're gonna take this baby to the doctor. The doctor's assistants noticed the bruising on the back and called in the doctor immediately. And the doctor came in and instantly urged us to go to the ER so she could get an MRI. At that point, I was feeling shocked and like confused as to how a parent don't know what happened to their baby. I was just starting to get to know April. I've heard all types of bad background stories, all of her cop ordeals, in and out of jail, drug charges, felony charges, and that I'm wondering why she lied about taking her daughter to the hospital. This poor baby had multiple skull fractures, bruising on the body, pressure on her brain, blood on her brain. There's just so much that this poor little girl endured. Police got involved and I was the witness. I cooperated with them wholeheartedly. I know April had something to do with this because she told lie after lie, and now Justin's in jail serving 15 years for something that she's not coming out with. April only served 18 months for pleading to aggravated child abuse. And Justin is in jail for 15 years for child neglect. I wholeheartedly believe Justin is an innocent man. I've known him since I was 14, and I know April well enough to know that she lies and manipulates her way through anything. I want April to know that she deserves to be in prison for 15 years.
Do you believe April abused her
If
daughter?
she didn't do it, she knows who did it, and
I really
she's just
don't.
as guilty.
How is the little girl
And I
doing
would
now?
not.
She has seizures. She has an IV shunt that's going to be in her head for the rest of her life. It's going to have to be.
You have custody of those two children.
They're mine.
No, yeah.
I adopted them. They're my children. Those are my children.
And this all resulted because of injuries to the little girl. But then you also believe that April's son has fetal alcohol syndrome.
A neurologist did an EEG on him, and he has markers for it.
If she were to pass, would you allow her to see the kids?
If she didn't have anything to do with it, maybe supervise, but she has to know that even if you pass, I am their mother.
Which I understand.
I
do.
their birth
want you
mother.
to.
And I appreciate
And
you
I
being
am
there
the
for
real
my
mother.
daughter. I do.
Okay.
I appreciate you being
What
there for my son.
what I do want to know,
I thank you for that.
even if you didn't cause the abuse yourself, wouldn't at the very least you say you were neglectful?
No.
No? Did April avoid taking the baby to the doctor while you were visiting? You answered yes. Did April miss a doctor's appointment while you were visiting? You answered yes. Did April tell you that she would wait until you left town to have the baby checked by a doctor? You answered yes. Did you express concern over the baby's well-being to April multiple times during your visit? You answered yes. The results came back all the same, and they came back that Laura told the truth. Did you cause any of those injuries to your baby? You answered no. Did you witness anyone causing any of those injuries to your baby? You answered no. Did you ever shake the baby? You answered no. And the results came back all the same, and they came back that you told the truth.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank
So
you.
who did it?
I really didn't do it, and I really don't know who did.
What the hell?
I really don't know.
It's obvious she did not cause injuries, okay? Did she do what's best for the baby? Were mistakes made? Certainly. But she obviously did not intentionally cause injuries to her. She did not want to hurt them. I believe that she passed this test. So that's up to you on what kind of visitation you're going to allow.
I'll allow you to see them, but you have got to realize that I am their mommy now.
I don't care what
They
you have
don't
to say. I
know
just
you.
want them to know who I am because I deserve that. They deserve
I will
that.
let you see them.
My children's voices deserve to be heard. They didn't deserve this.
I think what she's saying is, yeah, she's going to let you see the kids, but she's saying these kids are hers now. She's mom.
That's fine.
Are you okay with that?
That's fine. You know why? Because they'll make that decision when they get big enough.
When they're 18, they
They'll
can do whatever
know.
they want.
They will know. And that's all that mattered to me, is that you weren't lying to my kids.
I'm not lying to your kids. I didn't know what happened to
I
them.
understand that.
I didn't even know.
And I want to tell you, I thank you every day for being there for my daughter because nobody else would have had the money to support her in her condition. And I appreciate that every day.
All right. Well, I'm glad you came on. Good luck to you. Good luck to you. Good luck to you. If you like what you see, all new episodes are coming, and you do not want to miss out. Click subscribe now.